Support LaneSide. Get something cool.
Alright guys, so welcome back. As always, I am the Bearded Beast, Rob Johnson, and today you can see we are looking at a new vibe from Hammer. This is the Arctic vibe. Now we've seen the vibe core before, and for a ball with not a lot of differential at only 0.42, we've seen a lot of performance from this, both in tournament and in house shot. So when we look at this ball at 2.510 RG, we think of this ball as a ball up, probably for our medium conditions or our house shot, definitely house shots. But then they did it again. As we always say, HK22 makes everything better. They took the CT Max hybrid cover stock and added HK22 to it, and lo and behold, we got this baby right here. Now, the reason we call this one a ball up is we're looking for a ball that we can move laterally. So as right-handers, we can move left. Left-handers, we can move right. And something that's going to shape for us when we have some defined friction. So we're going to throw it to a point down lane, but we don't want it to jump off the lane so much that it's unusable or it leaves us a lot of splits. In this vibe shape, well, we've said this before, the vibe has a very unique shape. A lot of these hammer balls do. So why don't we check out how we laid this one out. For this one here, you can see, well, you can mostly see, we've gone with a 4.5-inch pin to pap, and because this is symmetrical, we use the make-believe mass bias in the symmetrical at 6 3/4 inches away from the pin through the CG, and we've measured this off 6.5 inches. And then we've used a 3-inch pin over line layout. That puts our fingers, you can see, right here. So we're going to have the center of gravity and our pre-drilled pin to mass bias line going right through that ring finger. We always love to see that on these symmetricals. Now, for you dual angle guys, I know you always want to know the numbers. So this is 85 by 4.5 by 40. So as I said, we're looking for something that we're going to be able to move a little bit laterally in the oil and take advantage of a defined friction point to open up the pocket. But instead of me wondering about it, why don't we take it LaneSide and see how it's stacked up?
Welcome down to the lanes, and as always, we are joined by our resident two-hander. That's me, the Bearded Beast. And I was really, really looking forward to throwing this ball. As weird as it sounds, through all the balls that we have reviewed, I have never reviewed a vibe myself. Which is really, really weird because this the vibe line has been out for a very, very long time. It's one of those cores that Hammer has kept in their line over the years because of its unique shape and its unique performance. So when we received this ball, I was like, yeah, mine, gimme. So as I said, this is an extremely unique shape. It's that combination of that low RG, but not super low at 2.51 plus. It gets a little bit longer down the lane and is a little harder to spin up than what we see out of a lot of our ultra low RG balls, the balls we see first out of our bag. So I've already made a little move here. Ooh, look at that. Look at that performance. I have already made a jump because you can see that first ball went through the nose. I made a 3-board left jump, but I also moved my mark a little bit farther out towards the friction. One of those things we want out of our ball up is we want to be able to throw it to a defined friction point, someplace where we know it's going to hook, so that we can get left and get a little bit more angle of entry and will carry better. So I was talking about the unique shape of this ball with that that RG and that differential at around 0.40. It seems to be a little bit of a sweet spot with these balls. You're getting still, 4+ inches of flare out of it, but you're getting just a tiny bit more length, and it's keeping the ball from rolling forward. A lot of ball up that we end up throwing are the ultra low G, ultra low RG with high differential and often a high intermediate differential. So we really shorten that hook phase down. It becomes much more angular, and unfortunately, often if we have too much defined friction or there isn't enough oil, we'll see the ball roll forward as it gets down lane because it just doesn't have the energy to continue moving laterally. Look at this. Moved in just a little bit more. Oh yeah, even in a little bit more oil, this ball has some guts. But we still wanted to get it to some defined friction down lane. So yeah, we see that shorter hook phase from a lot of the asymmetrical hybrids. Being able to go to a symmetrical hybrid, we see a little bit more continuation off of it, so a longer hook zone. The ball gets through the pins a little bit better. It also means it, as we said, it doesn't roll forward. It doesn't stand up and just kind of die off at the end, which means when you need the ball to hook down lane, you've got, say somebody's been playing a lot of urethane, and you need the ball to read the down part like that, down lane, you need it to read that friction, you still have that option with something like this, where often you'll get into a strong asymmetric, and when they start to get a little bit more washy down lane, you'll see it start to now get more over-under. So sometimes you hit it and it'll snap. Sometimes you'll miss it and it'll roll forward. With something like the Vibe, it's still going to hook. It's just going to take it allows you to get a little bit more on top of the friction and not see it roll out. So I'm going to make another move here. Right now I'm about six to eight boards left of where I started. I tried to get a little bit more round that one. I was trying to get it to really snap off the corner, to see how much performance I can get out of this. We always talk about versatility, and that's really kind of the hallmark of the Vibe line. That's why it has stuck around for so long. Because all those other shots I was throwing, I was trying to get it more forward, trying to roll it a little bit more forward. So even though it was coming off of the end of the pattern, it was still a little bit less hooky. It's hard to describe. I didn't want it to be as aggressive laterally down lane. I wanted it, when it sees the friction, to more roll forward a little more controllable. Well, now we're moving left, and we're trying to see what kind of hook we can create with it. You can... Oh, look at that. Look at the look on my face there. You can still create a ton of hook off this ball. That was 10 boards left of the strike before that I had thrown, just by getting around it a little bit more. Here I am left-handed throwing it. So I was really, look at that, really impressed with what I saw. A ball that I could get to, and here we are with our benchmark ball. Every company has something that has similar core dynamics, just different covers, but something that we can compare apples to apples to. And you can see how that ball is much slower off the spot. When it gets down lane, when it starts to hook, rather than making a fast lateral motion, it's much smoother and rolls more forward. As compared to the Vibe here, look at the difference here. We're seeing more length, if you can see it. I do apologize, it's harder to see a white ball on the overlay here. But you can see we've created much more length and much more motion down lane. We're talking 6 to 15 boards more. And you can see how much wider it gets down farther. Still very continuous through the pins, if you can see it. That is the problem with a white ball. Whoever thought white was good for this was not thinking of the poor guys who have to review these things. So let's look at the lane level, see if you can see it a little better. Here we are with our Rattler, and you can see when it sees the friction down lane, but doesn't make the huge lateral motion off of it. It reads it as very smooth, makes its motion through the pins, as compared to the Vibe here, if you can see it. And you can see how much stronger that ball was. It actually looks like it might start up a little bit earlier, but it doesn't make its lateral motion until after the Rattler. We're going to slow it down here so we can hopefully see it just a little bit better. So you can see it is about, 8 boards wider. It's started to spin up, I'd say about a foot before the Rattler starts to make its motion, and then starts to hook after the Rattler. So we're seeing, once again, another great Vibe, another great addition to the Vibe line from Hammer, and another winner for Hammer. Go figure. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a show. So until next time, guys, we'll see you laneside.